Hello and welcome to the Suburbanites Podcast. I'm Connor.
I'm Nick.
I'm Chris.
Nailed it, Chris.
Eating.
So, we're gonna... This is the reshoot, per se, because...
Take two.
Take two.
Episode redo.
Yeah. Because Audacity decided to screw us over a little bit. We recorded an entire podcast, and then Audacity was like, hey, remember all those skips and cuts in the last podcast? Because I do, and all of us are like, we don't.
Some grade A assetry.
Yeah.
I like to reassure everybody that all the parts that were cut out were the parts where I am absolutely hilarious. The funniest I've ever been. So if anybody ever questions how hilarious and great I am, it's just because you're missing those pieces.
Yeah, it's gone forever.
Just point them to the mythic lost episode of the Suburbanites Podcast.
We now have a lost podcast. The Mystery Episode 19. Should we just call this episode 20?
I think we should.
I mean, if Windows can skip Windows 9, I think we can skip
skip a podcast.
9.
Oh yeah, did Windows 9 just straight up not happen?
Yeah.
It's not happening.
Why are they calling the Windows operating system after Windows 8 Windows 10?
Because it's so different. They need to skip an entire number.
That's how awesome Windows 10 is, you guys. It skips right over Windows 9.
Even though Windows 8 was bad.
Really bad.
Compared to Windows 7.
It is, okay. No, not bad.
Not compared to Windows 7, dude. Windows
Different.
7 is amazing.
Okay.
Different.
I'll give you that. Optimized for touchscreen. If you're using a device that doesn't have a touchscreen,
Kind of boned.
You've landed directly in the bone zone.
Yeah. But Windows 7 was amazing. Windows 7, probably the best OS I've used.
Have you ever used a Mac?
Yes. And that's why I'm saying that Windows 7 is better.
I know I was talking on the last one about not getting caught up in like this thing versus that thing wars, like with video games. The last time I was on, I
thought you were referencing the last podcast.
We can't reference the lost
exactly,
podcast.
Because
no one will get the reference.
Exactly, you can't be like, oh, I remember saying this on the last podcast because like the people don't know.
No, but talking about not getting caught up in stupid this one versus that one wars. As you were mentioning Apple, I was thinking about something snappy to say about Apple solely because I use a PC. I have no problem with
Pears
Apple.
are so much better.
I irrationally dislike them.
Apples, too many choices. Pears, you got a pear.
Oh, you got the PearPod?
No, I'm talking fruit.
Is that a Zune?
No, I was making a really obtuse iCarly reference.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Not
I gotcha. Good. So let's just hop right into all the things we already talked about.
Yeah. It's a redo in every sense of the word.
We are on iTunes now. That's kind of a big deal, wouldn't you say?
Oh my God, iTunes!
Whoa.
The premier podcast destination for all those of you who don't use SoundCloud or who would like it on an iPod.
We are the fourth most relevant search. If you type in the Suburbanites Podcast, we are the fourth thing.
Yeah.
One place off of actually placing.
We can see the podium from where we're standing.
So if you like Suburbanites on the go, or you don't have enough time to listen to the full hour just sitting at your wherever you listen to this, then put it on your iPod.
Or your PearPod.
Or if you want
Or your Zune.
brag to all of your friends about how hip you are, you can be like, look, I have all of the Suburbanites episodes on my phone.
You guys, I liked the Suburbanites before it was cool.
Exactly. That's what.
Yeah, this is going to be a whole lot of hipsters with the Suburbanites, I can tell.
Getting in on the ground floor of the Suburbanite hipster generation.
Don't forget to Twitter us on follow.
I'm doing that at the end, okay?
Right.
My social media plugs are at the end.
You'll get the social media barrage later.
I do them now.
So,
before I forget.
Chris does what he pleases, when he pleases.
I was trying to think of what I started with last time, but it doesn't matter at all. So, did you guys see the Pixels trailer?
Yeah, Adam Sandler movie.
Did you actually see it?
Nah, still.
Still? You had a day to see it?
Futurama episode.
Yeah. Chris is adamant that it's actually a Futurama episode and they're just copying it.
100% positive that this was a Futurama episode long before it was an idea in Adam Sandler's head or whoever decided to make this movie.
Now, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I could have been doing a lot of things in the time between the original recording and this recording. Watching the trailer for the next crappy Adam Sandler vehicle was not high on my list of things that I could have been doing.
Yeah, well, it's about a bunch of pop culture things that were sent into space in the 80s, like Pac-Man and Space Invaders, and aliens got a hold of it. So
let me sum it up for you. So Professor Farnsworth created this device called the What If Machine. And what it does is you ask it a question, and it generates a universe
we're talking
where
about
this question is true. You ask it
the Adam
a
Sandler
what if
movie.
question. So the episodes, the anthology of interest episodes go like, different characters ask episodes. It's like little mini episodes.
And Peter Dinklage is in it.
One of these, Fry asks, he says, the only thing I'm good at in life is video games.
Paul Blart's in it,
what
too.
What if life was video game?
You just call him Paul Blart. His name is Kevin James.
His name is Paul Blart, and will always be Paul Blart.
I mean, he's Adam Sandler
Earth
caliber.
is being invaded by the Nintendians or some
and Pac-Man is giant,
Nintendos
and Adam Sandler goes up against the Pac-Man.
And Fry's the only one who can save the planet.
Everybody thoroughly confused about what this movie is. Well, good.
It's literally
because
Futurama.
He's good at arcade games.
Yeah. So, get hyped.
Parsing that section requires either an in-depth knowledge of Futurama or an in-depth knowledge of upcoming Adam Sandler vehicles.
Sumner, this is for you. Sumner gets me.
I've seen the episode.
All of
it was
Futurama.
a good episode.
It was a great episode.
But seriously, everybody's getting hyped over it. I honestly don't understand the hype. It blew up a lot more than I thought it would, because I saw a giant, like a couple months ago in a movie theater, I saw a giant like Pixels poster of like Pac-Man eating the Golden Gate Bridge. And I was like, I wonder what that could be. And then I found out it was an Adam Sandler movie, and I was like,
I would be awfully intrigued by one of those like giant blown up movie posters with Pac-Man on it.
Yeah.
Just like, what Pac-Man?
It was a pretty cool poster.
I think they need to make movies centering around Pac-Man as the main character. And his life struggles in eating small dots.
Pac-Man with an eating disorder.
Don't forget small fruit.
And the fruit.
And then slightly larger dots.
Kind of big fruit.
Right? The fruit is like most of the size of his body.
Yeah.
So are the ghosts, and he eats those.
What if there was a game where Pac-Man gradually got fatter as he ate all of the dots?
And it's like a statement on eating habits.
Yeah, and it's like you have to strategically, because like there are some pipes that are smaller than others, so you have to start in the small pipes and then gradually get to the bigger pipes, and if you don't, then you lose.
Oh, that sounds pretty interesting. Next level Pac-Man.
Dude, I'm just a game designer, dude. What can I tell you?
Do it.
I will.
I mean, hell, if Zach Braff can get millions of dollars to make his movies on...
Zach Braff can do whatever he wants. Don't you start talking to me about Zach Braff.
No,
Chris,
listen.
Adam
listen
and
to me.
Zach Braff fan.
Chris, I am an Adam and Zach Braff fan as well. Scrubs is, I think, still my favorite TV show of all time. Those movies were mediocre at best. Around Zach Braff, if you will.
Don't start with Chris on Zach Braff. He's got like all of the Zach Braff movies.
I have all of the two.
You have both of them?
All both of them. So difficult.
What was your honest assessment of those movies?
They were good. I enjoyed them. They weren't like the best.
You loved
movies
this shit
ever.
out of Garden State.
Garden State was
for a month. You would not shut up about Garden
because
State.
that was just a great that was just a good movie for what it was. It did what it did good. Yes.
I do. I love Zach Braff and Donald Faison. Makes me so happy that they're so close in reality.
I don't know who either of those people are.
Have you not watched Scrubs?
I've watched my fair share of Scrubs.
Oh my God,
I don't
watch
know
all of
who
it.
Zach Braff is though.
Zach Braff plays JD.
Oh, okay.
Dr.
That
John
would
Dorian.
make more sense then.
And Donald Faison is his best friend, Dr. Christopher Turk.
Right.
See on this movie here, he's the one with his face right there.
That's the guy from Scrubs.
That's him.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
Natalie Portman.
And Natalie Portman was in this movie, which
Portwoman?
means it was a great movie.
Hey, Natalie Portman's performances completely depend on the director. I am coming out and saying it. Like, you look at her in Black Swan and she's great, and then you look at her in, like, well, I don't know, Star Wars 1? Star Wars 2?
Oh, God. Prequels.
Yeah.
We should not get started on the prequels.
Well, I actually have a story about the prequels. I showed my my
snap.
girlfriend the last scene of episode 3, the Mustafar scene. Easily the best scene in the entire
Mustafa
prequel.
scene?
Oh, yeah.
And it was like...
The scene where Mustafar gets trampled by those gazelles, right?
Yeah, yes, precisely.
What? Oh, Mustafa. I get it.
Also, Mufasa was the name.
Right.
Yeah, but there's like a play on words there.
Yeah, no, that's...
Great, wonderful.
That's hilarious. Anyway, so It started from when Natalie Portman got out of the ship and was like, Annie, why are you doing this, Annie? And he, like, choked her. Yeah, solid Natalie Portman impression.
I wasn't going to say anything. I was going to let it happen.
And then it just went until the end of the movie. And my girlfriend was like, Connor, that was so good. And I was like, yeah, well, it doesn't get any better than that.
Little did she know, that's essentially a supercut of all of the good parts of the prequels.
Yep. And it didn't even cut back to the Yoda Palpatine fight. It was just the Mustafar scene.
Nah. I can think of like 3 scenes in all of the prequels that were good.
Exactly. And that entire scene was amazing.
Every movie had like 1 scene.
That's when the dialogue was at its best. That's when the acting was at its best.
Oh, the dialogue. Well,
the dialogue was great in that scene.
I loved when they talked about high ground.
Yeah, there was like 2 lines.
That's the thing.
Don't make me kill you.
You see, great dialogue. You killed her in your rage.
Yeah, well, I didn't show that part.
Yeah, that was better.
No. But yeah, she was like, Connor, that was so awesome, and I was like, yeah, well, it doesn't. It only gets worse from here. So
it's a massive downhill slope.
But what about Jar Jar Binks? He's such a key character and so important, and literally
little does everybody
Honestly,
know. What?
Go ahead.
Little does everybody know, George Lucas put Jar Jar Binks in those movies to be the Wookiee, the Chewbacca of the prequels. That was his intention when creating the character of Jar Jar Binks.
He wanted something that would sell fantastically as a plushie because children like stupid animal things. Honestly, though, Jar Jar Binks plays a pretty interesting role in the series because in the first movie, he's kind of just the stupid, like I said, fluffy animal that's here to sell plushies or whatever. But then in the second one, he becomes a senator. Or what, is he a senator?
Yeah, I think he's a senator.
Right. And then in the third one, he has like a key role in determining the vote that gives Palpatine imperial power.
And thus starts the giant empire.
So Jar Jar Binks, stupid alien lizard bunny that he is a major player in the fall of the Galactic Republic.
In fact, basically Jar Jar fucked everything up.
He did.
Essentially.
He was just trying to be a good guy.
Yeah, well,
no,
he wasn't.
Man, he's stupid.
I mean, you would have done the same thing in his place.
Been tricked by Palpatine?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, I really
confident.
I'm not gonna argue with that.
I really did like the dialogue in that one scene.
So the dialogue is what stood out to you in the Mustafar
I liked
scene?
the dialogue because it was so noticeably better than every other part of dialogue in the entire prequels, okay? It was bearable. It was decent writing.
You know something? You make a fair point that maybe it wasn't, the ultimate dialogue, but it stood out
good.
Being incredibly not shit by comparison.
Really though, who wrote those movies? Did Lucas write those movies?
They were just bad. Oh, you know what? You know what would be a
You're
really
so beautiful.
Oh God, creeper. You know what would honestly be a really good movie? Supercut Attack of the Clones. Remove everything that happens with Anakin and Padme on Naboo. Because that love scene, Hayden Christensen, he cannot play.
Every single love scene in any part of the prequels is painfully bad.
He's incapable of playing a romantic counterpart to any other human being.
I'll give it to him. He was actually decent. And I say decent when he became Darth Vader.
When he became... Palpatine knighted him, and then Hayden Christensen, the whole thing turned around.
I wouldn't say turn around.
Okay, sorry.
That's a stretch.
He went and massacred all of the children, and he was just a better actor.
He was.
Honestly, he was.
Honestly, he was.
Better
The
committing
Mustafar scene.
genocide.
The Mustafar scene is honestly the most genuine scene in the entire prequels.
It is. Hayden Christensen, better at being a mass murdering Sith Lord than any kind of vaguely humanoid person.
The love scenes are just I like to vouch for Star Wars 3. I think it was I want to say good, not great, not amazing.
I mean, Revenge of the Sith was by far the best prequel.
Yes.
Take that for what it's worth.
I wouldn't say it's average, but I would say it's a little bit above average.
yeah, that's fair.
So I like to vouch for it because everybody just kind of lumps the prequels as shitty movies.
Fair point.
But the love scenes in 3 are so bad.
Almost as bad as all of the love scenes in 2.
Yeah. Basically. But yeah,
Let me
go watch
levit-
3. It's better than you remember.
Let me slice a pear with the Force and then levitate it into your mouth with the Force.
Did that happen?
Oh, boy, did it happen.
I completely forgot that
I
happened.
want all of you to go watch all of the prequels again.
Absolutely
And just
not. Can I
go
not
into
watch
this
Why
and
would I
just be
subject
thankful.
myself to
Be
this?
thankful that you get to watch awesome action scenes with laser swords.
one? But
Just take that in. No.
there's not even any
No,
of that in
don't-
1.
Do not.
There's none of that
Well,
in
hang
1
on,
until
no.
the very
Well,
end.
that's the one good
Whoa.
scene I was talking about in 1
Whoa.
because
At the very end, yeah.
Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan v. Darth Maul is fantastic.
It is
Set that up
great.
like a Supreme Court case. Is fantastic. That's the best scene in that entire
Yeah, but you gotta
movie.
wait through 2 hours and 30 minutes of young Anakin,
That's what
which
the
is
fast forward button is for.
which is worse than old Anakin, which is worse than Hayden Christensen. Like, I didn't think they could get any worse until I saw 1 and I saw little Anakin.
Whatever the stupid kid's name is, which makes me feel incredibly weird about his relationship with Padme, who's
Yeah,
like,
she's wicked old in that movie, isn't she? Padme? The character of
wicked
Padme?
old. She's like, I
16
get the impression she was
years older.
like 15, 16?
Yeah.
And
that's
he's
she's
what,
gonna be.
5,
And
6?
Anakin is like, what,
Maybe
10?
8? Yeah.
Well, I guess if he's 10.
He's younger than 10.
It's okay.
Probably 8 or 7.
I mean, it's like cute that he has a crush on her, but when you watch it in the context of the rest of the movies, it's like that's his forbidden love and
Yeah.
the mother of his children. And they met, and he like developed this crush on her when he was like 8.
Those movies, man.
Explains why the kids couldn't figure out that they were siblings.
Right? Until after they made out a little bit.
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Oh, that was a thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's obviously, retrospectively, it's easy to point this out, that they didn't decide... Wait a minute.
Darth Vader.
Did they know? Did the audience know that they were brother and sister?
The audience know they were brother and sister.
I don't think...
Not for a
Ooh,
little
I'm gonna
while.
have to rewatch A New Hope.
No.
Yeah, because I was gonna
Not,
say...
don't
not in the
think
first
so.
movie. Not in the
Okay,
first
when
movie.
they kissed.
Yeah, when they kissed, you still didn't know.
Right, good. Because I was gonna say, and now that's confirmed by Chris, I feel like I could stand by it a little more, that they had them kiss because they're the obvious... Well, you lend validity to my statements. They had them kiss because Luke and Leia were the obvious romantic duo there.
Yeah. It's a joke. It's like a funny
before
joke.
they're brother and sister, and then later they got around to it, and they're like, oh, well, if they're brother and sister, let's just not address that kiss, and I guess now she's interested in Han Solo, and we'll just move right on from that. It's
I think it would've
essentially a
been
retcon.
So much better if instead of switching to Han Solo, she went straight to Chewbacca.
Yes!
That's what I want to see.
Let's get some Wookiee love, come on.
No comment. Anyway, so
No fun.
Kanye West, we all know him. Such a character. He was
Excuse me, Yeezy,
Mr. West.
Mr. West.
Sir Yeezy.
Yeah, he's been knighted.
can't
Could
wait.
you imagine
I
if Kanye
can't
gets
wait.
knighted?
Oh, I really hope he gets knighted.
The Queen of England
I'm gonna call in
knights
all
Jesus.
the favors I have. If I would do that in a heartbeat, if I could get Jesus knighted.
If you had a significant amount of favors to get someone knighted,
I
you
would
would call
spend
them all in
A lifetime
on Kanye.
gathering favors just to call them in on knighting Kanye West.
So, Kanye West was supposed to perform at Glastonbury, this huge music festival, usually predominantly rock in England. It's probably the biggest festival in England, and so he's supposed to headline. And so this person set up a petition saying Kanye West is an injustice to music, and he should not headline Glastonbury
Opinion.
because
Pure opinion.
he was like, well, the Rolling Stones headlined 2 years ago. Why should Kanye be headlining now?
Because Kanye is relevant.
Oh my word.
Chris with the call out.
Just
The
kidding,
Mick
guys.
Jagger call out.
I'm a Stones fan.
Mick Jagger's gonna come in here and be all weird looking at you.
He's got moves.
Be all weird looking.
I don't know what
He'll
happened.
just
Sometime in the last
open the
decade,
door.
Mick Jagger melted. Don't be mad at me for it.
Not as bad as Steven
Steven
Tyler.
Tyler.
He'll just stand in the doorway.
I mean,
and
that man
look
has
at you
always
and
looked-
make faces.
That man
And
has
make
always
you
looked bad, though.
uncomfortable.
Steven Tyler. Like, there was no degradation in Steven Tyler. He was just... Anyway,
He
so...
started melted and did not re-solidify.
What if they had Steven Tyler as the Wicked Witch of the West, and he sang "I'm Melting" in like an Aerosmith voice.
Well,
Anyway.
now that's in my head. Thanks.
So anyway, Could that be the thumbnail? Me photoshopping Steven Tyler's face onto the Wicked Witch of the West?
If you want to do that, I am 100% behind that being the thumbnail.
So anyway, Kanye West was supposed to headline Glastonbury, and this petition that this man started, calling him an injustice of music, passed over 100,000 signatures. And I mean, it's not going to get him anything. He's still headlining Glastonbury, as far as I know. But just the fact that this petition passed this
He can easily manage this headlining
in a week.
thing.
In a week, this thing passed 100. I think a week.
Is it like one of those online change.org petition sort of things?
Change.org. And in an interview, he was like, I mean, it started as a joke, but my feelings...
This is the guy who started the petition?
Yeah, he was like, but my feelings still stand. Like, I still think he's...
What are the odds that Kanye starts a petition to make him every single show at this concert, and he signs it the amount of times that other people have signed the petition to get him out of it?
Oh my god.
And it's just his name over and over and over again.
That would be glorious.
But like, I can just
love him
picture
so much
Kanye
more.
like headlining with this giant banner in the background that just says like, "I'm here, motherfuckers. Deal with it."
I don't feel like Kanye cares. But Kanye will do what Kanye wants.
Yeah, he'll be there regardless.
The only person whose opinion matters to Kanye was his mother's, and now it's just him.
It's just Kanye. So unless Kanye signs that petition to keep Kanye out, I don't think Kanye will be bothered.
There would be heartbreak if he signed it for himself. He'd have like a crisis. He'd break down. Deep talks with the mirror.
Nah, man. Kanye wouldn't betray Kanye like that.
No, I don't think so either. They've got such a strong relationship.
And I hope someday that I'll find somebody who loves me the way Kanye loves Kanye.
Power couple of the year. Of the century.
Kanye in a mirror.
Kanye and Kanye.
Anyway, so I was gonna segue into Star
Wake
Wars
up, Mr.
Battlefront
West.
from all this. I was gonna segue into this the Star Wars Battlefront news from the Star Wars news that we were talking.
Too bad we started talking about Kanye.
Yeah, God damn it, Kanye.
Pictured what wakes Kanye up in the morning, and I'm so confident that his own song, Good Morning, wakes him up. With just,
It's a great
wake
song.
up, Mr. West, Mr. West.
That's a song.
Wakes up to that every morning.
It's absolutely his alarm clock. If it's not that, it's definitely the Kanye station on Pandora. I think he's just tickled pink that there's a radio station named after him.
Anyway, so the Star Wars Battlefront, we're all hyped.
Kanye jokes are
I think
too
it's safe to
easy.
say.
Can you say that a little louder because that was gorgeous?
Kanye jokes are too easy.
Star Wars Battlefront, we're all pretty hyped for it. Am I right?
All aboard the hype train.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Humble Bundle, and in the past month, I don't remember exactly when, but recently they had a Star Wars bundle, and I got like all the Star Wars games of ever. So yes, Star Wars.
I love that Humble Bundle.
Yeah, Humble Bundle's awesome. I don't like have it, but the fact that they like pack so many games into it for like a low price.
Go buy things on Steam, everybody.
True. If you have the PC, I don't. I mean, my PC can't even frickin' run Audacity, as we've seen.
The mystical lost episode.
So, Star Wars Battlefront, DICE is developing it. The creator of what, Chris?
Every time he says lost episode, I remember the last episode of
SpongeBob?
Yes, you should walk.
It was the live action one with Patchy the Pirate running around town
And then he
looking for the
He
videotape.
found it, and it was just SpongeBob walking.
Oh my god, that's right! It was an entire
Lost
videotape of
podcast.
varied walk cycles.
The last podcast is just us walking. That's
Joke's
all it
on
was.
you, the last podcast is just us making jokes about Kanye.
I mean, that was a good portion of it.
It was. Much like it was a good portion of this one.
Anyway, Star Wars
Are we
Battlefront.
talking about something?
Yes.
Portion about everything.
We were talking about something. So, Star Wars Battlefront, being developed by DICE, the same people who did Mirror's Edge and Battlefield, all the
And the
Battlefield
same
games.
people who play crabs.
So it's going to be a platformer with invisible feet. This is what you're telling me
No,
about
Mirror's
a
Edge didn't have
trailer.
invisible feet.
Were your feet visible in Mirror's Edge?
Yes.
That's a bold move in 3D platformers.
But, so people are kind of, like, they released some dev journals, developer journals and stuff. And, so it looks pretty awesome. They're going to the locations of the movies. Like, they're going to where Hoth was, and they're going to where Endor was.
Oh, whoa.
I remember this.
That's so cool.
Vacation.
You can't say you remember this, Chris. This is the first time you're hearing of it.
Lost Podcast.
The Lost Podcast.
Connor, you have to whisper it, not to.
No, they
yeah, the trifecta.
and they're going to the George Lucas Museum, and they're like taking a lot of inspiration.
The George Lucas Museum.
I think that's what it's called. Don't quote me on
I'm
that.
sure that's what it's called. It's the George Lucas Museum of George Lucas. How awesome George Lucas is.
Yeah, I'm just going to take the family out to this location, and then we're going to go to this other location. Oh, no, it's totally to make the game. Oh, and we're also going to go to this museum, too, while we're out there. No, I promise. It's to help make the game.
Just gonna take the fam to the forest moon of Endor.
I mean, who wouldn't want to go to the forest moon of Endor? I mean, Ewoks will, like, eat you.
Set up
But-
elaborate log traps.
Everybody hates on Ewoks. I don't think Ewoks are that bad.
Well, if you're a
Ewoks were
golden,
awesome.
if you happen to be a golden metal robot, they'll worship you as a deity.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
if
could I just paint myself gold?
If I stumbled across a
I'd
golden
give
metal
you
robot
odds.
that spoke, how many languages? 116 something?
I don't know the number. Many.
Many languages. I'd be pretty impressed.
Would you worship him as your deity?
No, because this is a society that's evolved past stones and trees.
Fair enough.
Racist.
Anyway,
Against Ewoks.
back to Star Wars. Shut up. Back to Star Wars Battlefront. So, people are concerned that the Star Wars game is going to be too much like a Battlefield clone with just Star Wars skins. And I feel like that's a pretty legitimate concern.
I feel like it would be a good game nonetheless.
See, that's
Battlefield
where-
4 was glitchy as
I'm
like,
more in that
all hell,
camp.
though.
But Battlefield 5 will fix that.
Well, it's not just literally gonna be Battlefield with a Star Wars skin. Like, I imagine they're doing a little more work than
Starfight.
redesigning art assets.
Yeah, well, you don't know.
I
They're
mean,
run by EA.
Oh, ooh, fair point.
Yeah.
Eek. Eh.
But I'm hyped. They're apparently
Game.
they're
What is?
that's the
That's the
slogan.
EA motto.
No, I know. I'm asking what's in the game.
Games are in the game.
Everything.
But they're announcing further information on it at the National Star Wars Celebration Day, I think, sometime in April. Oh, May the 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
May the 4th be with you.
Murder. and apparently, but they have confirmed that it's going to be coming out holiday 2015, and it's going to be only for Xbox One and PS4 and
Which
PC.
one?
Shut up.
Holiday?
Oh, I thought you were talking about
Kwanzaa?
Xbox One, and you were like, which one?
Oh,
I was like,
no.
that's a dumb joke.
That was a different dumb joke about how you said holiday 20. I
That's
choose
a
to
dumb
believe it's
joke,
Arbor Day
actually.
2015, personally.
Well, I mean,
Can't wait. Arbor Day is my favorite holiday.
they're going to rush it out then.
Leif Erikson Day 2014. Wait,
But yeah,
that
get
already
hyped.
happened.
Leif Erikson Day?
I don't know if Leif Erikson Day is a day, but everything in 2014 already happened.
It is SpongeBob. It's in.
We just overlooked all of that. 2014.
No, I thought I
You
said
hadn't mentioned
2015
that.
the first time. Unless I said 2014 every single time.
What are you
Erikson
talking
Day,
about?
1998.
I'm so
Holiday.
confused.
Star Wars Battlefront 3 releasing on next-gen consoles, Leif Erikson Day 1988.
So yeah, get hyped for that.
I'm incredibly hyped. You guys both played Battlefront 2, right?
Yes, I
Well-
played Battlefront 2.
This was an argument
lot.
that I had constantly with my
I
friends.
played.
Go ahead.
I played.
You played?
Played.
Thanks for interrupting that, Chris.
Played some things.
Yes. I played.
Anyway,
What was your go-to faction?
depends on the stage.
Depends on the stage.
I hate you, Chris.
If you had your choice of all four of them, which one would you pick?
Of the stages or of the
No, not of the because there's four factions, right? You can play
Yeah.
as the Empire, the Rebels, the Clone Troopers, or the
The
Droids.
CIS. yeah.
Spoiler alert.
I would probably the CIS because I was
Yes, up top.
Yeah, definitely the CIS.
because the General
CSI.
Grievous on the planet with General Grievous that I forget the name of.
Hoth.
It's
No,
not Hoth.
not even close.
He was
Mustafa.
awesome. General Grievous was amazing in Battlefront 2.
Is that the planet with all the gazelles?
I think so.
Yes, General Grievous was the bomb, and so were the droids, the CIS.
I do like. I'm partial, and if we're not talking like the heroes of the Sith, I did like the Stormtroopers better than the droids.
It was because the Stormtroopers had better heroes. They had all the classic Jedi.
No, if we're not talking about the Jedi or the Sith, like
Yeah.
not the heroes. If we're talking about the soldiers themselves, I
Yeah,
like the
that's what I
Stormtroopers.
meant.
I did like the Stormtroopers better.
The
Stormtroopers were
Battlefield
my
that I played the most of was the one for the PSP, and I forget exactly which Battlefield it was.
Battlefront or Battlefield?
Yeah, it's Battlefront. That's the game.
That
That's
is the
name
game
I'm
we're
trying
talking
to say.
about.
Yeah, that one.
They had a PSP one? Did they have a port?
Yeah,
You're gonna be
there's a
thrown
PSP.
off the hype
I
train.
believe it was Battlefront 2 and then subtitle that made it not Battlefront 2.
Right.
But I played that a lot because I could carry it around everywhere. And
Did you have a
games.
PSP?
I still have a PSP.
You're
Was
one
it
of like
classic?
2 people I know that has a PSP.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm glad
I
I'm a
don't think I had
minority.
PSP.
Anyway, I played that a bunch, and I never liked being like the Jedi. I always felt really bad because I died so quickly.
Hang on, Battlefield or Battlefront?
Battlefront.
You definitely said Battlefield.
You did at the
I
beginning, and then I
absolutely
corrected
did.
it.
And then he corrected
Okay.
me, and I felt like a dunce.
I think I had it backwards in my head from the time you corrected him then.
So Battlefront,
Battlefront.
when I got like the be a guy with a lightsaber power up,
Yes, that one.
Heroes.
I died so quickly. But I like just jumping around as them because they jump so high.
Force jump.
They do.
It's like, whoosh.
Obi-Wan Kenobi could jump like a million times, as much stamina as you had left.
It was incredible.
It was
Yoda.
incredible.
But then I'd die really quick and be like, well, I suck at this. And people would always be too far away. I can like...
Yoda was OP because he had force pull, and that defeats the only limitation of someone with a lightsaber, their range.
So,
Just throw it.
I'm going to stop this because we're 30 minutes in, and I'm going to move on to our next topic because I have a lot of topics.
We need a wind chime for like these changes.
Yes,
like
transitional
when they-
wind chime.
When they turn the page in an audiobook to let you know that they're turning a page, you're like, shoot.
Do they really? I've never listened to an audiobook.
Like
It
a
might be-
quiet gong.
Maybe it's end of a chapter.
Boom.
the
Okay,
chimes.
Disney has, speaking of Star Wars, because Star Wars is owned by Lucasfilm, which is owned by Disney now, Disney has instituted a smoking ban for all of their movies, from Marvel to Pixar to Lucasfilm to their own Disney movies. So, no smoking at all.
No smoking.
Which doesn't seem like a big deal until I found out the statistic that around 70% of PG-13 or under Marvel movies do have smoking in them.
Oh,
Weird.
No.
That is weird.
I can't think of any scenes that I saw smoking in a Marvel film.
Subconscious, Chris.
Connor swears that Nick Fury smokes a lot. Just
But
cigars?
every
Or?
time
I
I,
thought
leave a Marvel
I
film,
swear to God.
I have this urge to go buy a pack of cigarettes. I don't know what it is.
I
Every
swear
time
that
I
Nick
leave-
Fury
Every
smoked.
time I leave a Marvel film, I have the urge to go fight intergalactic injustice, and I don't know what it is.
I watched Finding Nemo the other day. And
I have
just
the urge to be
really
Chris
wanted
Pratt.
to go
Like,
smoke. I don't know.
I always have the urge to be Chris Pratt.
he is my spirit animal.
I don't know if I want to be Chris Pratt or be with Chris Pratt.
I mean, both.
This is a conversation I have with my girlfriend Lindsay often. It's just like, which one do I want? You
They're
know?
both equally perfect.
I don't know.
Anyway, so yeah, I thought that was interesting how they're really kind of expunging smoking altogether.
Yeah, I mean, I think societally it's already on its way out the door. Smoking statistics have
true.
dropped hugely from like 30 years ago when over 50% of the population smoked regularly
Yeah.
to now where it's somewhere in the like mid to high 20s, I believe.
And it's like it's not like without cause. Apparently, there was a study done by some anti-smoking campaign, and like a really high percentage, like in the 80s or 90s, percent of kids who see smoking, like they feel the urge to, if they see like a hero or something, smoke.
Well, yeah, if kids view those heroes as identifiable characters, which, you know, they're supposed to, so they'll like the hero and see the movie and buy the associated toy product,
Right.
and that hero smokes, then they're gonna want to. Like, I'm pretty sure there was like a G.I. Joe action figure back in the day.
Oh, they all smoked.
That, like,
All
came
the
with a
G.I. Joe
cigar.
smoked. Yeah. It was yeah.
It's
And
your victory cigar after defeating Cobra Commander.
That's
a
those
throwback.
times. Back when tobacco was
Did you
legal.
see the new G.I. Joe movies?
I saw one, and for whatever reason, it's associated in my mind with an action movie about talking hamsters. So this sounds like a drive-in double feature I caught when I was little.
I haven't seen any of the newer ones, so apparently they looked pretty bad. So
Yeah, I mean, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson played a part.
oh,
Do you know Chris Pratt actually auditioned to be in one of the G.I. Joe movies?
I mean, I'd watch it.
I read about that.
But he wasn't fit enough.
Right, and he said that was a major goal behind his, like, dramatic weight loss.
Yeah, he's...
And then he's Star-Lord, which is 1,000,000 times better than any of the G.I.
Honestly,
Joes.
it is. I would take 1,000. I would take one Star-Lord over 1,000 G.I. Joes.
So moving on, we have the Scarface remake. Yeah, there's going to be a Scarface remake. What do you guys thinking about that?
I actually haven't seen the original Scarface.
Really?
Confession times.
Neither have I. Because remember,
What?
important movie, I could not have possibly seen it.
It's the rule.
It's the rule.
But it's so he shoves his face into a mound of cocaine.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. The movie Scarface involves coke. No, I've seen like clips and bits here and there. I'm, for instance, very well aware of the end sequence with like machine guns and a comically sized mountain of cocaine.
Absolutely, it's amazing. But
What I think is cool is that the actor with the shoes filling.
I
read Connor's mind very.
I was
poorly.
getting to that.
It's almost like Chris was in the future.
I can read Connor's mind for the rest of this podcast, but not very accurately.
Okay, so Al Pacino was
It's tough
interviewed.
to find things in there. It's
Shut up.
so empty.
Al
Wasn't listening
Pacino.
the first time around.
Al Pacino was interviewed. Was interviewed for a new movie he was doing, and
Lost podcast.
and we can't keep referencing it, guys. We can't keep doing it.
Referencing what? I don't know what you're talking
What are we talking about?
I didn't say anything.
Al
This is episode
Pacino
19, right?
was interviewed for a new movie he's doing, and he was asked about anybody filling his shoes, and he said, "I'm open to anybody filling my shoes, because I would like to see that same rendition of me played by somebody differently and their take on the character." So I thought that was kind of cool.
I think that's a tremendously cool way to be. Like, I think it's interesting that he values another actor getting to show their interpretation of that, classic beloved character.
Exactly.
More than, like, his legacy or anything like that.
I take that as a personal challenge.
Chris is going to be Scarface, even though he's never seen the movie.
That was a very passive-aggressive statement he made, and it was a challenge.
Read the quote. It didn't seem very passive-aggressive
Oh,
to
no,
me.
because it was extremely passive. Very passive.
You could barely detect the aggression, but boy, was it there.
It's like when you talk to Jack, and he's upset about something you did. Not like fake upset, but like actually upset.
Actually,
We should
upset
segue.
Jack is super unnerving.
If we're done talking about that, we should segue from Jack's snarky comments into another one of Jack's snarky comments that he said based on a topic that you had.
God. I'll be honest. I was absolutely obliterated at dinner the other day. Brutalized me. What exactly was it? I mean, the topic I brought up is something big going on.
Say what the topic is.
Marvel Comics. They're ending like
Who cares?
flashbacks. The
Jack-
entire table was dead silent. Everyone stared. When Jack turns up the sass, boy does the sass hit big.
Because they were just
uses
like,
that
hey, did you
tone.
guys hear about this thing? Marvel's ending like
he never
half
has
of
a
their...
sarcastic laugh while he talks, but when he does, it just...
I know, right? Like, I guess it was
Murder.
terrible that I wanted to share something.
He was like, hey guys, remember
His
this
phasers
thing?
were set to kill. And he shot you right
Can
in the
I
heart.
give context to the joke?
Go.
Okay. So Nick was
He
like,
murdered you.
this is going to be another mutiny podcast. That's what I'm getting the vibe. That's the
Whoa.
vibe I'm getting from this podcast.
If you were a warm bagel... he solved the mystery with you.
I don't know, man. You're the one who said mutiny.
Anyway, so Nick was like, hey, you know that Marvel is ending a lot of its comics? And Jack just goes, who cares? And it was amazing. Chris already said You
That's
ruined
exactly
it,
how it
Chris.
happened. No, that's exactly
You
what went
ruined
down.
it.
No, because I put it into the actual context that they would have gotten it in. Nick introduces a topic and begins talking about it and assumes he has the attention. And Jack, out of nowhere, interrupts him
Really
to remind him
unprovoked.
that nobody gives a shit about Marvel.
Okay, Nick, what was the news?
This is what I get for having DC friends. All right, Marvel is currently involved in this big story, and which they are using to draw all of their multiple universes across which everything is occurring.
Because comics.
Because comics, that's how comics go. Back down into one singularity.
Like a black hole.
I shouldn't use the word singularity because that has the connotations of a black hole. Down into one singular universe out of which they're going to kind of expand things back out again in the future in a whole new direction.
Like the Big Bang.
Yeah, I'm getting the feeling this was inspired by some astronomical phenomena.
Somebody watched the Stephen Hawking movie.
But in doing that,
They're ending so many of their most incredibly popular comic runs. like Iron Man, Avengers, Captain America, Hulk.
A bunch of Spider-Man movies.
Whole bunch of the Spider-Man ones, Wolverine, all the X-Men, the Avengers, the new Avengers, all of that. It's done.
That's crazy.
At the conclusion of the current story arc they're in, then they're gonna go into an arc where all of them, or all the ones who survived or are gonna be continued to be spoken about, are like sort of condensed into this one universe that they're calling Battle World, and then out of that.
Battle World?
Yeah, Battle World.
I want to take your story seriously and not just like rag on Marvel, because I have no right to rag on Marvel. But Battle World.
Yeah, no, that's not what I would have called it. I would have called it the Singularity. Continue with the black hole metaphor, but I'm not a writer for Marvel. And then they're going to continue all of their comics in a much less confusing and much easier to follow. This is how I understand the story at any rate. They're going to continue all their comics in one much less confusing and way more easy to follow single universe instead of that whole multi, bazillion infinite universes.
And canon all over the place that you need to
know.
know.
Much like DC keeps falling all over itself with.
Much like DC keeps writing comic books.
Yeah, I mean, for all our DC fanboy friends, this is actually a big deal with Marvel, like a bold direction they're taking, because unlike
that DC already did.
Unlike DC, Marvel isn't used to completely rebooting its universe every 2 weeks.
It doesn't happen every 2 weeks.
This isn't a once a fortnight experience. This is ground.
They've done it
major
twice,
shift.
and I wouldn't even call one of them rebooting it. A bunch of stuff just happened, and a bunch of people just died. They've only actually rebooted it once.
Well, I see your DC comics and raise you a black Captain America.
Yay.
And a Lady Thor.
Yay.
Yes.
Inclusion.
Bold new directions.
Too bad comics aren't selling well anymore.
They're not. It's a dying media, which makes me sad.
I'm going to, since we don't have that much time and I still have a lot of topics, I'm going to move on from that. But, who cared anyway, right?
Who cares?
Still salty.
So, Attack on Titan, that anime that we all like.
Yes.
It was confirmed to have a movie a while ago. Okay. It was confirmed to have a movie a while ago.
I know how Connor feels to be the one person not doing the fun thing.
I wished you were with me on that, Chris. I wanted you and me to do that while Connor narrated it in the background.
I can speak over you. This mic would pick up too much of you and too little of me.
Fair point.
It would just sound like the same person singing with themselves.
Yeah.
Do Chris and I have similar sounding voices on this recording? Poll.
So.
Because I think we do.
So Attack on Titan is getting a movie, as people know. It's been in the works for a while, and but it got a trailer. It got like a 30-second, very Japanese-esque trailer in the sense that it would show a shot and then cut to a bunch of text with a black screen, and then show another shot and cut to a screen with black screen with text.
In the sense that almost everyone involved was Japanese.
Yeah.
Is this the part where I got angry at YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh. YouTube!
What?
Made changes.
Chris, I hate you so much.
Top reference!
At this point, I have watched the trailer and confirmed that it does indeed cut from, scene to title to scene to title, and it's annoying and difficult to follow.
That
and
trailer
also
was dope.
Yeah, can we talk about the trailer?
CGI
Can we talk about the trailer before you rag on YouTube?
Yeah, go.
Okay. So, yeah, the CGI was awesome, and the actors look good for their roles, I suppose.
Yeah.
They look like their anime counterparts.
I mean, I understand that it's a product being made in Japan, and
Right.
they're going to get Japanese actors to do it. But an interesting thing about the Attack on Titan universe was that it takes place, heavily implied to be somewhere
In a
in
German place.
Central Europe,
Yeah.
because everyone is of Central European descent, predominantly German. Eren Yeager, for instance, is the protagonist. But, I get it that they're going to work with what they have, and it's the easiest for that Japanese production company
Right.
making a Japanese movie to get Japanese actors. My biggest concern with that movie was, of course, the Titans.
The Titans themselves,
Because,
yeah.
obviously too big for practical effect. It's going to have to go to CG, and CG is either
Really
wonderful or the worst thing. Everyone out there has an example of an awful CG movie.
Yep.
I saw the trailer, and if it's going to look anything like that, those Titans look amazing.
They do,
I am
quite.
100% down.
So, yeah. Chris, what did you want to say about YouTube?
So I watched the trailer just now
Just now.
And,
Wink.
If you keep referencing it,
Referencing what?
And I got to the end, and it tried to take me to another video.
The Lost Podcast.
But I really didn't want to watch the next video. I wanted my video watching to be over right there. But I had to click a cancel button so it wouldn't play noise and video.
Me.
Why
and
would
then
you do this
This was
to me,
quickly
YouTube?
solved by turning off the autoplay option.
Hey, no, Nick is the one who has to tell me, okay?
Wait a minute, Chris. Can't you just deactivate that feature with that button on the top right of the video player?
Oh, would you look at that? I would have completely overlooked that had I not had friends, like many people on YouTube.
Oh, sick YouTube burn up top. Fortunately, you have friends here who can help you locate buttons.
At least acquaintances.
I get it.
Anyway, moving on. So Nintendo has announced that, excuse me, they are moving to predominantly mobile. Well, I shouldn't say predominantly. They're moving to mobile. They're going to have a face in the mobile market, and that's not the 3DS, like mobile games that you'll play on your smartphone.
Yeah, last time I confused
Handhelds.
mobile games with handheld games. Important distinction. Mobile games for the telephone.
Yes. But at the same
I
time,
exposed my inner 80-year-old by referring to it as the telephone.
The telegraph.
and at the same
You can play
time,
games over the wire? I thought it was all that Morse code dotting and dashing. I think I was too close to the mic for all of that.
but they wanted to dissuade people from thinking that they were just becoming mobile centric, like another company, Sega, has been doing.
Stop ruining Sonic and start ruining mobile games.
I mean, that's what they're doing.
Sega.
So they announced the title and the fact that they're making a new console, which is called the Nintendo NX, I believe.
Or as
New
it's
Nintendo
more
console.
commonly, as it's more commonly pronounced, the Nintendo.
So
I'll be
apparently
buying the
they don't
Nintendo
have
NX.
any details other than the name of it and the fact that it'll be a new console, successor to the Wii U. But they're getting into it early.
Did you want to talk about Hype Train?
The Nix.
The new Nintendo console. They're throwing their hat back in the ring.
I mean, the Wii U's a great console.
I enjoy the Wii U.
Yeah.
I'll be the first to say that I thought that gamepad thing was incredibly stupid until I actually played with it, and it's a pretty good alternate feature.
My
Yeah.
only problem is that they don't sell them separately, and the console will not work without it.
They don't sell them separately?
Nope.
It's a bunch of balls.
So there's a very common thing where people will purchase a Wii U and sell it without the gamepad, and people who don't know that you need the gamepad will buy it without the gamepad for their children.
Wait, do you really? Why do you need the gamepad for it?
Just for setting up settings and things, and when you start the console and like
Wow.
other things with it, you need it.
But like,
Yeah.
what if it breaks and you've already set up your console?
Tough luck.
Yeah, I guess you don't have a Wii U anymore, do you?
Wait, so do you need it to like to do other things?
I'm
other
not
than-
sure. I think it's mainly involved with like the opening steps of
Right.
beginning your Wii U.
So it's not
experience.
a huge detriment if you like drop it when you've already set up your console.
I mean, unless you planned on ever using it again.
Yeah, or like ever playing any game made for the Wii U, because of course Nintendo demands, with their long history of abusing third-party devs, that every game they make take advantage of every stupid
True.
feature Nintendo can figure out how to
True.
put into a games machine.
Games machine.
Yeah. I mean, would you consider Wii U next gen?
I thought it was.
I thought it was.
I guess it's more.
But now
It's
there's
definitely next gen.
there's a next gen.
I mean, isn't this the thing Nintendo does all the time? I don't remember the release dates of the Xbox One, the PS3, and the Wii, but I thought that the Wii was staggered out from the other two.
not necessarily staggered out. It came out. I think it came out at most a year before. At most.
Yeah, I think Nintendo tries to keep itself out of the mud in the console wars foolishness as much as possible.
Which is a smart decision.
Yeah, I mean, they don't need to get dragged down into that. I've said my bit on console wars.
I'm waiting for a console to just be a PC. Like, which company's going to go
Dude,
for
the
like,
Steam box.
Honestly, Steambox. I was just about to
Steambox.
say that. That's
But, all right, that's different. That's Steam because Steam is PC.
yeah.
Creating
But
a
it's a
PC
separate console.
for gaming.
No,
No,
it's a
it's
console.
actually a separate console.
It's essentially a PC,
It's a console
No, it's a
which is what I'm asking. But what I meant
with a controller
specifically
that you plug into your TV and
what I
play
meant
discs on.
specifically, because you're twisting my original idea, is out of
Shots
Sony
fired.
and Microsoft, who's going to be the first to release like what is essentially just a computer? Because at least with the Xbox One encompassing more and more things, it's becoming a computer.
Except without any of the power of a computer.
Yes, exactly. So who's going to get that first? Who's going to just do that?
So, that's an interesting point. Since game consoles are essentially really bad computers right now, if they do keep actually improving, what happens to the point where they just become not really bad computers, but computers?
Yes.
Singularity.
Singularity.
So,
or as Marvel calls it,
World.
Battle World.
So, moving on,
I like Fight World better.
Fight World.
Makes it sound even more comical and whimsical.
I like Brawl Zone.
So,
More like
Mission
Melee
Impossible
Zone.
came out
Punch
with...
Galaxy.
Are we done here?
Oh my god.
Probably.
Mission Impossible came out with a new teaser trailer for their new movie, Mission Impossible Rogue Nation.
What?
And it involved Tom Cruise hanging off of an airplane, which I'm actually not sure if is real or not.
I gotta find out if that guy does his own stunts.
He does all his own stunts.
What?
I'm talking about if him hanging off the plane is CG or not.
Ah.
Because he actually did scale the Burj Khalifa in Mission Impossible.
God. Ghost.
What did you say?
He scaled the Wiz Khalifa?
Scaled the Wiz Khalifa. Wiz Khalifa was just walking downtown and out of nowhere he starts climbing him.
He is a notoriously small man. If he happened to cross Wiz Khalifa, maybe he could climb
Wiz
him.
Khalifa's like, yo, get off me.
Wiz Khalifa was just confused but didn't do anything to stop it.
Did you guys see that Wiz Khalifa was on WrestleMania last week?
Was he really?
As the guest star that no one asked for.
Did he wrestle?
No!
Oh, okay. That would have been hilarious.
He was on color commentary for a little bit, and then he did a rap.
Didn't a dude die?
What?
At a WrestleMania recently?
I don't think so.
Not maybe it wasn't WrestleMania. Maybe it was like a Raw or something. I'm pretty sure a wrestler just died.
They faked a death.
No, he's dead.
People fake die all the time.
No.
I don't think anyone real died.
No, he real died. Mysterio? I read this on IGN.
Mysterio?
Yes.
No,
it was not
died
Mysterio.
in a
It was not. No,
match?
it was not Mysterio. Mysterio threw him onto the ropes and then apparently hit him again on the ropes. So it did something with his neck.
Are you telling
and he died
me
in the
that
hospital.
in WWE, Rey Mysterio killed a man?
Unintentionally, but yes.
I didn't ask you about the intent. Rey Mysterio killed a man. I cannot believe I didn't know about this.
It was very recent. And it was very
amazing.
sad, too.
No,
He's
that
35.
that is sad. That's horrible.
Because Rey Mysterio was apparently setting up for his signature move or whatever.
His finisher.
619.
Why do you know this?
Dude, I played the WWE games all the time. I slept at my friend's house. Dude, they're so fun. You can make green. You can literally make the Hulk. I made the Hulk. More
dude,
than
in
once.
some of those games, the customize
just-
your own wrestler feature
You
is
could adjust your
stupidly
skin
variable.
color ridiculously and just make yourself huge and literally wear Hulk pants.
That's great. I know.
Look it up, Chris. Tell me the guy died.
I know only as
Pretty
much
sure.
as I do about wrestling because Little Karibo, the genius behind Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series and lots of other projects, recently started doing a weekly satirical wrestling recap show called The Mark Remark. And I've been watching that religiously.
So moving on from that.
While
so
Chris
moving on
researches
from a guy dying.
Rey Mysterio killing a man.
So
What?
it was a Mexican luchador, I don't have his name here, who died in a tag team match against ex-WWE superstar Rey Mysterio and others.
Okay, so it
Which,
wasn't a WWE
The biggest
thing.
news to me is that Rey Mysterio was ex-WWE.
Mm-hmm.
It's no longer with them. Sad.
So, but was it? Never mind. Is it recent? Is it a recent article? Because
Aguayo.
this happened
That's his name.
couple weeks, either last week or the week before.
March 21st.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
Oh, wow. Dude, if you were into wrestling, even via video games when we were kids, you might be excited to know that apparently The Undertaker is coming back.
The
Undertaker.
Dude, he wore a trench coat.
Probably gonna get rocked.
Dude, nah, he's fighting Bray Wyatt. He'll be fine.
Don't even know who that is.
He's just some dude from Louisiana.
Fuck that guy.
He's apparently been resurrecting The Undertaker for the last, month and a half.
Okay,
Yeah.
moving on from wrestling.
WWE
Whiplash.
creative team.
He died of whiplash. The man.
You heard it here first, folks.
J.K. Simmons killed him.
Pero Aguayo Jr. I just...
Okay, can we...
This guy's name.
Is his first name
El
Dog?
Hijo del Pero Aguayo.
That's
Okay.
Dog something.
Moving on from wrestling.
Public school Spanish.
Dog name. Aguayo
So-
Dog. Aguayo Dog.
Eagle. No.
No.
Aguia
I don't think...
Akia is eagle.
Alright, Spanish dick. Here we go.
Okay, we're done. We're done with this. We're done with this.
All right, we're done with it.
So, because I wanted to talk about the change the cover trailer.
Multicolored woolen cloth.
What? That's his name?
He's the multicolored woolen cloth dog, and now he's dead. Rey Mysterio killed him.
Say that full sentence. Say Rey Mysterio.
Chris.
Rey Mysterio killed the multicolored woolen cloth dog because whiplash. 619.
Did he 619 him?
Booyaka.
619. Did you make that up or did he 619 him?
Wait,
We're done. He was setting up
an
for the...
accident video shows Mysterio doling out a dropkick to Aguayo as a means of setting up his finish. So he was setting up
the 619.
Gee, exactly what I said. Moving on.
Oh, I'm sorry, we had to verify with a third-party source.
But as you,
we're newsmen.
This is I need to cite my source. This is from the Washington Post.
Fair enough. Okay, hashtag change the cover is a thing that's been going around because a variant cover, meaning another cover for a comic that is not going to be widely released and is more kind of harder to find and done by a different artist and usually doesn't correlate to the content in the comic itself, depicted one of the most famous Batman comics of all time, The Killing Joke. And in this depiction, it was Joker who was drawing a Joker smile on Barbara Gordon, Batgirl's face. And apparently a lot of people thought it was sexual in nature and suggestive, and the artists themselves came out and said, we're pulling this. And DC was like, good move, guys.
So the real problem here is that people are oversensitive and really quick to do things.
True.
This one I actually read up on.
You did?
Over the break, yeah.
Yeah.
The break.
Well, the break in continuity
24 hours.
between this and the lost episode.
I'll get to your point.
Last episode.
Get your point.
Right. So what a lot of people were doing is some people were doing change the cover because they immediately jumped to the conclusion that it was overtly sexual or implying sexual assault or anything like that, which it wasn't really, although maybe a little bit in what it was referencing, the comic The Killing Joke. That's the Joker had the outfit on. The reason a lot of people asked for it to be changed was because they felt not that it was any of those things, but that it was, in fact, too far a departure from the character of Batgirl, of Barbara Gordon, who, for whatever else, wouldn't look so scared and panicked.
But that's strange because, because it's kind of a reference to The Killing Joke, Barbara Gordon, which I guess she wouldn't really look that way, but, she's terrified because it's kind of a reference to when Joker shot her in the spine and paralyzed her.
Well, yeah. What I heard was that they didn't want to... I think it stands as a great piece of reference work, work in reference, obviously, not the other thing, to The Killing Joke, which was an awesome comic.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah,
everybody read it
great.
if you're looking to get into Batman.
Read The Killing Joke. It's crazy good. But the reason they didn't want to print it as a variant cover for where they are now in the story, and I heard this was a comment by the artist, something to this, I'm paraphrasing, of course, but that he said that he agrees now, having heard a little bit more about it, that it doesn't represent the character where she is now.
In the current continuity. I also heard that.
And that's not
the image they want of her. And
they want to project.
There was a lot of things that said, we want to move Barbara away from The Killing Joke because she's always... Barbara being Batgirl, obviously. We want to move her away from The Killing Joke.
Because as a character, she's come a long way.
She has. But, I feel like it's not really as big as they're making it seem. It's a variant cover.
It's art.
And variant covers do this all the time.
This is like when people slap leaves onto sculptures because their dingleberries are showing.
What a brilliant synopsis.
Thank you for adding to this
of the Catholic
conversation.
Church's movement to censor Greek and Roman nudes.
But
could you one more time? They slapped leaves
on
the statues because what?
No. Let me finish my thought.
The dingleberries.
The dingleberries. Okay. So I saw a variant cover of a Superman comic, and it was in reference to a comic from the 90s, Death of Superman, in which Superman dies and he is quickly replaced by 4 different Supermen. And this was a reference to one of the Supermen, and it just had him doing things on the cover. And so it's like, it's just kind of an homage rather than keeping up with the current continuity.
I agree. I'm not saying that... What I'm saying
that is my counter-argument.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was their rationale, what I explained a minute ago. I agree with you. I don't think that it needed to be changed. I don't think it was overtly
it's a
sexual.
variant cover.
And yeah, it was a variant cover done as an homage to the Killing Joke, which everyone who's read it must agree was fantastic.
Oh yeah, incredibly well done.
And it doesn't necessarily need to be reflective, but if they felt like it was I don't feel like it was something that happened because of undue pressure for political correctness or whatever. I feel like it was a decision on behalf of the artist and the publisher who decided that it wasn't what they wanted to do. That said, I don't think they should have had a problem with doing it. I liked it.
I also liked it. I was going to buy it. I was actually going to buy that variant cover as soon as I saw it, and then I heard it got pulled. Oh yeah, we didn't report that it got pulled.
Did we not say that it got pulled?
I don't think we did.
Well, it got pulled.
I think that was one of the first things.
Did it? Did I say? Well, whatever. It got pulled.
Yeah. Pretty much how we started this was the controversy over it getting pulled.
I mean, it's in there now.
Or was that from
The Lost Podcast?
God. That's still hilarious, guys.
It's going to keep being hilarious.
So,
always will be.
We're gonna wrap it up here because we're at about time. I had a bunch of topics I didn't talk about, but save those for next week. So, thank you very much for listening, and here's my social media plug time. I'm gonna formally announce it. So follow us on Twitter at SuburbanitesPod or twitter.com/SuburbanitesPodcast. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/SuburbanitesPodcast, and follow us on SoundCloud, and if you want to take us on the go, download us on iTunes, because we are now the 4th most relevant search on iTunes.
Yes, and be sure to swipe right on our Tinder.
I don't know. I think we're going to expand to YouTube at some point, because it's just kind of the natural progression.
Not if
and of
YouTube
course,
keeps changing. It makes it easy to keep YouTube the way I want it to be.
Shots fired. Balls in your court, YouTube.
I mean, and we're still working on that MySpace page.
MySpace.com/Suburbanites Podcast.
Yeah, it's the natural progression. The LinkedIn.
The LinkedIn. So we can network with other podcasts looking for jobs.
So again, thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next week. I'm Connor.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Walt Whitman, and this has been a dramatic reading of my book of poetry, Leaves of Grass.